Welcome back to SoCal Business and Basketball Report. Tonight we're at San Ysidro High School near the U.S.-Mexican border near San Diego. And we were here tonight to watch Mikey Williams, a freshman basketball player at San Ysidro, who's one of the best players in the country. He recently had 77 points in a game, which set a San Diego section record for all classes, and that was a freshman record for the state of California. So Mikey's a tremendous athlete, night and day when you compare him to Orlando Greenlow last week, who's a 6'5" freshman who's just coming into his body and developing, where you can see Mikey has clearly been playing for years, and he's about 6'3". He's got complete control of his body. So we're going to talk a little bit about the border tonight. We're going to talk about the area here, and then we're going to talk about Mikey. He's averaging, after 10 games, 34 points and 10 rebounds a game. They've got a pretty good team. I think they won by 40 tonight, so they're going to have to find a way to keep their intensity, and certainly that's something that Mikey's going to need to do to continue to get better. So we're here near the border, and there's a pretty good book here. The Line Becomes the River. It's a book here. You can see that it was the common book this year for UCLA, where all UCLA freshmen recently read this book, and a lot of alumni have read it as well. I'm a part of the Silicon Beach network with UCLA, and so we read the book, and it's a very eye-opening type of a book, where the main character joins the Border Patrol and goes through, a lot of the brutal details that happen along the border here, where they're chasing people through the heat of the day and the barren desert areas and the frigid evenings, and at times, you're taking in dead bodies in the morning. So a lot of the brutal details. The main character eventually has a kind of a personal struggle, and then goes back to civilian life, and it kind of chronicles a case where there's someone living in the U.S. Illegally, has a family emergency in Mexico, and goes back for that, and then cannot get back to his family. Has children here, has a wife here, can't get back, and it talks about a lot of those details. So it's a very good book, and any border or island type of situation, it's brutal, the stuff that goes on in terms of humanity. And the one thing you learn in this book, as we, the United States, clamp down on the border, it makes it more and more valuable to get across the border. So the drug cartels make more money even in times like this, and the coyotes, it gets pretty brutal. So pretty good book to read. I mean, you could even go to a place like Puerto Rico and just read the newspapers for a week, and learn quite a bit about humanity in those environments. So that's one thing I wanted to mention about the border, and I would definitely recommend reading that book. Next thing, I just want to talk a little bit about the area here. We're San Ysidro. The port of entry here, heading north, you usually see about 70,000 cars are going to get processed and come through the border each day. About 20,000 people walk over the border, and so you'll see a lot of people, younger people in the U.S. Going down there to Tijuana. The drinking age is lower, so people going down to party and so forth. And the violence comes and goes, so you have to be aware of what's going on. I mean, there's times where priests are just taken out of cafes in midday and killed. So you just want to be aware of the time frame and so forth. If you go just 10 minutes from here, there's a wonderful mall. It's called Otay Ranch, and just like say UTC Mall over in La Jolla, you got Apple, Hollister, PF Chang's, Serenity Nail and Spa, Vans, movie theaters, all the nice stuff. And you'll see families that are pretty well off in Tijuana. Who knows, maybe lawyers, doctors, they may find a way to get their family here. And a place like Otay Ranch or some of these other types of town, Bonita would be another place. And it's interesting where, you know, maybe they're going out to eat at night, and they have a driver, and they may send the driver into the restaurant just to scope it out and just see who all is there. So, you know, different type of lifestyle near the border. If you go out a little further east of here, you're going to hit a city called Calexico, and then south of the border, Mexicali, which is just south of the border in Mexico. El Centro would be north of that, a little bigger town, and then Brawley would be north of El Centro. And you've heard me mention Brawley in past years, where a lot of agriculture, hay. During that time frame, 2005, 2006, they couldn't get enough people to pull the lettuce out of the ground. It just rotted in the ground. There's a guy in Calexico who he sells, out of a flea market environment, he sells Rolexes and nice watches. He does pretty well there. It's kind of a destination spot there. A lot of people in Mexico are aware of that. So the game tonight, San Ysidro had 97, Hilltop had 57, and as I mentioned, Mikey Williams had 37 points, and they have another good player, Kalen Rain, 6'5" senior. Mikey's a freshman, but Kalen's a pretty good ball player. They didn't totally look together in warm-ups. You know, some guys had the shooting shirt on, some didn't. You know, it was a game they were expecting to win. But like I said, I think the freshman year is one thing, but you know, Mikey's the kind of guy, who knows, people may try to talk him into graduating from high school a year early. So if he's going to amp up that intensity as a sophomore, I think that's something to keep your eye on for sure. Let's see here, the other comments that I saw. I thought of a guy, Gilbert Arenas, years ago, who he was a guy that could turn it on, turn it off, and Mikey seems to be that way too. You got to remind yourself he's only a freshman, but he doesn't necessarily get his elbow over the rim, but when he amps up his energy, he gets up and he has the step back already as a freshman. So he's got a lot of the tools. He's going to have offers from all over. But, you know, I kind of watched and thought, you know, a guy like Tony Bennett at Virginia may watch and say, guy maybe we offer, but I don't know that we really want him. So it's going to be interesting, I think, which direction Mikey goes, and if he stays here at San Ysidro for his whole high school career. While we're here in San Diego, it's hard not to mention Cathedral High School this year. They've got a very good team. Obina Anyanwu is a very good ball player. Looks like he's headed to Texas Tech. And Bayon Riley is a player heading to Hawaii. And a guy really to keep your eyes open for is Thomas Nodarani. Has an offer from Rutgers. Rutgers seems to be involved with a lot of very good players. And Thomas also is being recruited by Michigan State. He's a 6'3" shooting guard, and little different build, a little different ball player. But Ryan Langborg, I thought Langborg was one of the best shooters in all of Southern California last year, if not the best. And Ryan is at Princeton this year as a freshman. He started most games. He was actually player of the week in the Ivy League this past season. And so he's done well. He's averaging 6.2 points so far and 2.6 rebounds a game. So each year there's a good a couple of ball players that come out of San Diego, and they do play good basketball down here as well. So that's pretty much it this week. Wanted to check in with you here on the border and catch up with Mikey, as he's making a lot of news and has all the tools. And then I just hope that his surrounding, he keeps that intensity up the next couple of years so that he can continue his improvement, because physically he's there already, and he's just got to find a way to challenge himself and put himself in the environment to continue to improve. So thanks again for joining us. We'll look forward to seeing you next week, and we've got an interesting location next week for you as well, so stay tuned. Have a great night.